We are getting so close to the end here. It's amazing. So this is the part where we're going to be quilting everything together. So what we need to do first is we need to grab our backing fabric, whatever your backing fabric is, and place it right side down onto the table or whatever you're working on, whatever space you're working on. Next, we need to place our batting onto the backing. We're gonna lay that out next. And we wanna just make sure everything is nice and flat. So we just want everything smoothed out and flat. And then we want it to be centered on the backing. So centered in the middle of the backing. So not exactly like right on the edge, but centered. And then from there, the backing, just a note, the backing should be bigger by about 1 inch on every side. So if you want to measure that, you're welcome to do that. Then we're going to place the road mat onto the backing. And it doesn't actually really matter, which side goes where. It just matters that it's centered on everything. And once you have everything smoothed out and flat and centered, then you can measure everything, and the batting should be bigger than the road fabric by 1 inch on all the sides. And as we know from before, the backing should be 1 inch bigger than the batting. And then what we'll do is once we have everything the way we want it, so I'm gonna perfect this in a larger space after, but I'm just showing you this for demonstration purposes. Grab some safety pins, and we're gonna pin all of the layers together. So you wanna go all the way through to the backing and take a lot of safety pins and pin everything down, all 3 layers. That'll keep everything from shifting, and it'll also prevent you from getting stabbed. Now, if you don't have safety pins, that's okay. You can use regular pins. Just be careful to make sure all the layers stay in place and that they don't move around, and keep everything together and aligned. You want to pin frequently, even through the blocks, and just pin as much as you can to keep everything in its place. So about every 3 to 5 inches, you should have a pin. And once it's all nicely laid out, now what we need to do is quilt the mat. So you can either do this by hand or you can do this by using a sewing machine. The quilting process, if you're an experienced quilter, you can totally ignore everything that I have to say right now, and just go do your thing. Just go and quilt as you would like to quilt. But if you are new to quilting, that's not a problem. You can easily do this quilting process with a machine, or you can do it by hand. You can do it however you would like or feel the most comfortable. So if you would like to learn how to do the quilting by hand method, then I recommend that you pop over to the pattern instructions, and it goes into very great detail for hand quilting. Now, I'm not going to do hand quilting. I'm really not a hand quilter. So I am going to machine quilt this together. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm going to sew all around my rows and quilt through all 3 layers of the rows here to keep them stitched down. And we want to go around each block. That'll really, and each edge. That'll really give it a good, nice, stable, keep these blocks stable. So really, we just want to outline all of the areas with stitching. And we want to go through all 3 layers. So if you are following the pattern, you can take a look at the hand quilting instructions. There's a lot of, thorough info in there for you. And if not, then, go ahead and machine stitch it in the method that you so desire. It'll go a lot faster if you machine stitch it. And then from there, if you're doing the fastenings, the straps and the handle, we can learn how to do that next. So go and quilt this beautiful car mat. We are going to start quilting. So I'm machine quilting. If you're hand quilting, you don't have to pay attention to this step, but unroll or, unfold your mat. And now we're going to go along all of the sides and everything of the roads and the blocks and stitch everything down. And we're just using a regular straight stitch. And I'm just going along my roadways. My top stitch thread is black to match the road colors, and my under stitch, my bobbin stitch thread is actually like a tan color, beige, to match my backing fabric. So, just do what makes sense for you, the colors you're doing. Don't be afraid to have different colors in your bobbin and your top stitch. And I wouldn't unsafety pin anything unless you really absolutely needed to. And I am going to come back around and stitch onto my white edges to keep them down as well. But I want to change my thread color, my top thread color, to white before I do that. So I think you get the point. We're just going to keep doing this as we go.